Okay, this video is chapter 21 from the book, The Medical Reformation. The topic is fluoride. And fluoride's another one of these slow poisons that, they lie to the people, the public, and they try to tell them that it's good for you. Fluoride's a crock of BS. It does not belong in the human body. I've read like 4 or 5 books on it. This is the best book on it. It's the best one. This guy's a dentist, Dean Murphy, and he went through all the research papers on it. He has all the references in there. It's a good, springboard to look up the papers on it if you want to, or you just read the book. It's about 200 pages, well written, it's easy to follow, and he knows it. He has a lot of experience working with it, and he initially, didn't know any better. Okay, let's see what else. He calls it the devil's poison, how fluoride is killing you. It's he systematically goes through the papers. It's a slow poison. There's a lot of slow poisons. We've kind of talked about this, these slow poisons, and the reason why they do it, think back to the Vietnam War, the idea of plausible deniability. Oh, we're not trying to poison you. Fluoride's good for your teeth, prevents cavities. The research actually on preventing cavity is weak. There is a small suggestion that it does lower the risk of cavities a little bit, but it's pretty weak. And if that were the case, you would only rub it on your teeth and then spit it out. The fact that you drink it in your water and it goes into your body and gets absorbed into your blood, that's a really bad thing. It's a major toxin. It's like rat poison, okay? It's really bad. It's been shown to lower IQ, increases your risk of dementia, increases the risk of cancer. Let's see, what else? And it's a poison. They tell you if you swallow a pea-shaped amount, you could call poison control. That's how dangerous it is. There's children who died in the dentist chair from one of these fluoride treatments. You should try to avoid it as best you can. You can get well water that doesn't have it. You could move to an area where they don't put it in the water. If you ask me, think about it. I think this is part of the destruction of this country, that they're poisoning the drinking water with fluoride. Then it's getting widespread in the water supply. They're poisoning the drinking water with aluminum, another slow poison. They don't remove these estrogenic chemicals, another slow poison that are sterilizing people. So all these chemicals are pushing towards people being fat, sick, with lowered IQs, and stupid, and also make them kind of docile. It's kind of famous for that. All right, and that idea of it being so important for teeth, that's just the trick line to con you into accepting it, okay? And another reason why they like a docile population is no matter what they do to them, they just accept it, okay? So basically, this is just poisoning everyone, adults, children, everybody. Okay, here's another good book. This one is written by John, it's hard to say his name, Yeamuyianis, and he's a biochemist, and he did a lot of research on it, a lot of demographic control studies where he looked at, populations that have it in the water, don't have it in the water, and he showed, markedly increased incidence of cancers, fatal cancers, cancer deaths. So it's really bad stuff. And he talks about populations where they have a lot of it in their water, they age more rapidly. It'll damage collagen too. He talks about it substituting for hydrogens in collagen. Okay, let's see. It'll also increase the amount of DISH in the spine, diffuse idiopathic skeletal hyperostosis. I made several videos about F-. Here's one picture of it. It has an unpaired electron in its outer orbital. It's a member of the vertical column in the periodic table of the halogens. And all of the halogens basically kill stuff, okay? You sanitize water with chlorine because it kills stuff, okay? You kill rats with fluoride because it kills stuff, and you can kill other things with it. You can kill bacteria in your mouth. It does a lot of bad things. You use bromine to sterilize a pool, another halogen. It kills stuff. And then iodine, even though we need a tiny bit of iodine in our bodies, and we do need a tiny bit of chloride in our bodies, iodine also, the old prep used to be primarily iodine-based. So, halogens are toxic. All right, it's a free radical. Halogens are free radicals. There's an unpaired electron in the outer orbital. There's 7 electrons in the outer orbital. It wants 8. To have the full 8 is called having a complete octet. And because it wants that extra electron to complete its outer orbital octet, it very aggressively tries to grab it. Out of all the elements in the periodic table, fluoride has the highest electronegativity, meaning it has the strongest desire to grab another electron. So it is very, very, very hyper-reactive. And that's one definition of a pathogen, is that it's something that steals electrons. It steals electrons from other molecules and it doesn't give them back. that can initiate chain reactions that are real damaging. So here's a periodic table of elements, and here you can see fluoride. It has the highest electronegativity, just about 4 compared to everything else. Okay, much, much, much higher than carbon, for example. As you go up, electronegativity increases as you move towards this side of the periodic table, and fluoride has the highest electronegativity of anything. And look at every single one of these halogen is toxic and used to kill stuff. Fluoride, chloride, bromide, and iodine. Okay, they're all toxic, every single one of them. And now, a lot of people ask me about iodine. My attitude about iodine is it used to be in the past people only ate the food that grew locally. So if you had low iodine soils, that would be a so-called goiter belt. Iodine might be a problem for you. But most of the time nowadays, people buy their food at a grocery store from a wide variety of locations. So they're usually getting some iodine from one place or another. So I think the whole idea of everybody needs iodine supplements is totally exaggerated as a way to sell stuff. Okay, here's just another slide showing you some more of the things that fluoride does. Fluoride inhibits, pyruvate dehydrogenase. Well, actually, I'm not sure if it inhibits pyruvate dehydrogenase. I didn't draw it on there. It inhibits aconitase. It inhibits isocitrate dehydrogenase. These are Krebs cycle enzymes, okay? And I drew it in here. It's inhibiting succinate dehydrogenase. So that's a lot of enzymes. Krebs cycle is the middle of all metabolism. It is the central hub circle of all metabolism in humans. And fluoride inhibits 3 things in that cycle. And it runs in the mitochondria. So this is an example of how fluoride is a mitochondrial inhibitor. I told you before, anything that inhibits mitochondria, that gets into the brain across the blood-brain barrier is a neurotoxin. So fluoride is a neurotoxin. It's famously added to drugs because it makes them more able to cross the blood-brain barrier. Think about some of the drugs we know. Prozac, fluoxetine, all right, fluoroquinolone antibodies, and a whole bunch of drugs have fluoride added to help get them across the blood-brain barrier. And it can form complexes with aluminum and enter the brain and just damage the brain. It'll also inhibit complex 4 in the intermitochondrial membrane. IMM is for intermitochondrial membrane. These are the electron transport complexes 1 through 4, and then number 5 is really the ATP synthase. So fluoride damages that. That's really bad. Anything damaging the intermitochondrial membrane, your whole life depends on this. This is the equivalent in a town of the coal burning plant to make electricity. It's where your energy comes from. We need energy. Okay, things that power you down, they're not good for your health. Okay, things that power down society are not good for society. Okay, here's another thing fluoride can do. It can sometimes substitute for, this comes from the work of Yeo Miyamis, that biochemist who spent decades researching fluoride. And what he says, sorry about that, I'm going to move to the other side here, that fluoride can sometimes substitute its way in on binding to hydrogens, and it can break apart the hydrogen bonds that hold a protein together. And once a protein changes its shape and its folding pattern, it'll then now potentially be recognized by the immune system as foreign, and you can get a foreign reaction where the immune system will destroy the protein if it's in the extracellular matrix. If it's intracellular, the immune system doesn't necessarily see it, but still it'll damage the protein's function. So a pathogen is like pathogen-associated molecular patterns. It can become recognized by the immune system as a PAMPs, so it can contribute to causing autoimmune disease. So amongst the many things you want to do to prevent autoimmune disease, of course, the most important one is preventing leaky gut. Fluoride contributes to causing leaky gut. It damages the bacteria in the gut. But also another reason why you want to reduce exposure to fluoride is because it can damage proteins inside your body and potentially make your autoimmune condition worse in that way. Okay. So DAMPs is when you damage a protein, that's damage-associated molecular patterns. It can also do that. When it's a pathogen, they call that PAMPs, pathogen-associated molecular patterns. These means molecular patterns that the immune system recognizes as foreign and targets for destruction. Let's see. Fluoride-induced protein distortion can lead to autoimmune disease. Oh, I don't know why I told this joke. My wife was telling me my teeth look bad, like a person from England. English people have a tendency to have really bad teeth. But it was just because I had, blueberries on my teeth. There was nothing wrong with my teeth. Oh, and I did go to the store to buy toothpaste. Okay, here's what I noticed. And I went to the store. Almost all of the toothpaste, there's a few exceptions, Tom's of Maine and some other ones. Almost all of them had fluoride in them. And they would advertise it, meaning that they know that most of the public is so ignorant they actually think fluoride in toothpaste is a good thing. And I've had a lot of moms ask me, oh, should I have my kid go for fluoride treatments? No, stupid. Kid could potentially die from that, even though that's super rare. It's still a bad idea. Yeah. Okay. And like I said, too, that almost made me sad. What I realized is that, I've known that for, gosh, like over 25 years. And the fact that the population still doesn't know that in general, that's pretty sad. The population really doesn't learn much in general. We talk about it can cause autoimmune disease. We talk about how it can distort cell surface molecules and become DAMPs or PAMPs. Oh, the other thing is it can disrupt potentially collagen synthesis. Collagen is 1/3 of the proteins in your body because it can prevent hydroxylation of proline. Sort of like every third residue is like going to be hydroxyproline, another one's going to be a glycine. So glyphosate, the stuff on processed food, GMO soy, for example, will distort the shape of collagen. That's from the research work of Stephanie Seneff, and she wrote the book Toxic Legacy. But it also turns out F- can do this, and Yeo Miyamis writes about this. So that's not good. That's the whole scaffold of your body, and you can get fluorosis of the spine, which is quite similar to DISH, diffuse idiopathic skeletal hyperostosis with the bridging osteophytes, and that's all related as well to degenerative disc disease of the spine, where the disc fails, and then the spine tries to fuse the level where the disc has failed, and there's a whole cascade of events related to that. Another thing that'll weaken some Westerners is they don't eat enough fruits and stuff, and they're low in vitamin C. So there's a component of a mild scurvy contributing to their having poor collagen in their spines. So look at it. You eat the plant-based diet, you get all the good stuff, and you avoid the fluoride. You get all the good stuff, and you'll avoid the bad stuff. Okay, poor collagen can worsen arthritis-related pain, back pain. It makes the skin more wrinkled. Let's see. Aluminum and fluoride can form complexes. Aluminum fluoride F4. They can mimic phosphate groups and disrupt enzyme function. It's all bad. Oh, Ian Miyamis talks about a kid who died in the dentist office from the fluoride treatment. Okay, here's one paper showing that fluoride exposure from soybeans can sometimes be increased. They analyzed the fluoride concentration in 30 samples of the most popular soybean beverages, and the fluoride concentrations were often surprisingly high. One serving, 200 milliliters, of a soybean beverage offered a contribution percentage over the acceptable daily infant for infants and children. Consumption of soy beverages can contribute, it says it contributes significantly to daily intake of fluoride, and it will even exceed the acceptable daily intake with a consequent health risk. So with soy, according to this study, the soy specimens they tested, people were basically being simultaneously poisoned with fluoride, as well as soy is toxic in my opinion. It's super estrogenic. I think all these industry-funded papers saying soy is good for you are bogus. I made a whole bunch of separate videos on soy, so you're welcome to watch those if you want. Human exposure to potentially toxic elements from the consumption of soybean beverage. This one was in Spain. To determine concentration of potentially toxic elements, PTEs, 40 samples of various brands of soybean beverages were tested. The most abundant toxic thing in soy beverages was aluminum. And then next after that was iron, and then barium. Based on an average consumption of 2 servings of soybean beverages, this results in a daily intake of aluminum and lead that is still significant, but it's below. It was below the maximum amount. Higher consumption could exceed the recommended allowed amounts of aluminum and lead. Great. Isn't that funny? All right. So what they basically said is soy will have a tendency to be high in fluoride and high in aluminum and high in lead. And I get all these geniuses on the internet trying to tell me soy is a health food. Yeah, read some papers, geniuses. So anyways, I hope that was interesting or helpful for you. Fluoride should be avoided.